You look out the window and watch the climate change happen.
The melting of the glaciers is anticipated to cause a 7-meter sea level rise. I'm sure one can do the math, but this scenario paints a bleak future for a country like the Marshall Islands.
Every time I notice that at 12 o'clock lunchtime, the island is getting hotter and hotter by the day.
We're seeing extensive droughts. Like right now, we're not supposed to be seeing rain as we've seen the past weeks. So climate change has altered very livelihoods.
The more the sea level rises, the less land we get. It's affecting our agriculture. Can't plant anywhere near seawater because the plants are going to die.
The king tide that used to happen at about February once a year, it's happening almost every other month. Inundation of water into the land, inland water inundating. The water is now next to the people's house.
海水侵蚀已经到，你看哈，都侵蚀到路边来了，一路上都是这样子啊，然后土地的流失哈，那海岸线被侵蚀哦，这非常明显。这个地方的飞机场，我来看到我吓一跳哦，因为你看这里哦，不是柏油路的机场啊？刚降落的时候呢，其实有些海水都已经打上来了哦，侵蚀它的海岸线呢非常的严重。我们刚沿路看到很多的树啊，都已经往海岸边那边倒下去了哦。潮汐的时候呢，这条飞机跑道呢就不见了，就到海底下去了哦，造成他们生活居民上的影响哦非常的大。
And maybe it's because of climate change, I don't know. But the climate change could also be positive. So we could grow another species of vegetables.
No.
The habits, it's not about climate. Forget all about climate. Because it's small peaks.
So climate change is always a bad thing?
No.
No.
In South Greenland it's good because we are growing agriculture, is getting warmer down there and sheep farmers are using that.
This is good for us. We like that it's getting warmer, and I can see that. I can see why they would want it to be warmer. Some of them said that, not all of them, but I think there was a few where they said it's actually good that it's getting warmer and that they're welcoming some of the changes. But you know, what's good for them is devastating for us. What might seem positive, getting warmer, not being as cold, is actually going to impact our entire livelihoods.
I know the position, especially further south or the very south of Greenland, that farmers would claim that the crops are growing faster. They get more to feed the animals with grass and stuff like that. but it seems like it's like peeing in your pants. That it warms for a little while and then it gets cold again. If not, we are able to hunt. That's what we live off. We live off fishing. We live by the ice, with the ice. If it disappears totally, who are we then?
If there is something wrong, we have to move, leave our island. But you know, this is our homeland and we really love it. We can do nothing. Cannot accommodate all the people here, take them over when there is something wrong.
The ice are melting and the sea is rising. Here in the Marshall Islands, we are already experiencing the effect of climate change. And we are on the front lines of this global crisis.
There's a saying in Marshall is that man without a land is no man. And for anybody just to come and say, why don't you just move to another high mountain land? They have no understanding of who we are as Marshalese. It's not that simple as just leave your land.
아마도 아리상nok 이마저 너트노 좀 공막술nok 안기다 이리와 고시고 이다 지금
But at some point, when the water becomes too warm out here, the shrimp population will then migrate further north.
We're noticing a huge amount of significant decline in the fish. When I was young, we could just go out for an hour or two and we'd catch a lot of fish. Nowadays, you gotta go out real far.
But if it warms up, the fish may not be able to be there. You can't fish. If you can't fish, you can't survive.
Somewhere it's getting even colder, somewhere else it's getting warmer, the rain is falling more heavily, the storms are stronger, and you know, everything is changing. So it's a global phenomena. And I read somewhere recently that the number of sled dogs, for instance, have been diminishing. Like half of the sled dogs the owners had to kill them because they couldn't afford to feed them because they cannot go on the sea ice anymore.
The world will not end. If we get climate change, it will be a new situation. But we will not all die and the earth will not end. It will just be another one. And it's very important that the young people do not panic and say, oh, now everything stops. No, we have to take the challenge to think, to adapt, and to cut back on emissions in a sensible way. but take it easy. Don't panic.
And the last 3 IPCC reports have been pretty conclusive in saying it's CO2, we need to lower CO2, it's CO2, we need to lower CO2, it's CO2, we need to lower CO2. I don't think writing more scientific papers is the best way to address this problem. You could hire 1,000 glaciologists and the ice sheet will still melt at the same rate. All we can do is diagnose the scale of the problem. So I think the most important task facing us right now on the climate action is educating people and educating the people in charge, or educating the people who aren't in charge to tell the people who are in charge what to do. Trying to wrap that up for people in a way that they can digest in between the other things they have going on in their lives. I mean, looking after the kids, looking after the parents, doing their job at work, maybe having a hobby, seeing their friends, and then caring for climate 1%, 2%, maybe 5% of the time.
A lot of times when we bring up the concept of climate change, they understand what it is. They know what climate change is, but they don't necessarily understand what causes it. And so there's a lot of misinformation about who causes climate change. And so some of the education we've had to do is to teach people that actually international organizing and international advocacy is necessary for the climate crisis, for the Marshallese people.
Generally in all of the countries about the climate change that is happening now. Because after all, climate change is under children's rights. Every child has the right to live in good conditions.
解冻格陵兰采访记录团队亲自造访11个城镇，与专家学者、政府官员、当地居民深度访谈。气候变迁已经是不争的事实，因应调适跟积极的付诸行动，才是我们每一位都必须面对的课题。